Have you ever driven by a building or a park or a street, noticed a name and thought, I wonder where that name comes from? There are several San Antonio namesakes you see over and over again across the city.
Yeah, it got us asking, who are these people? What did they do that's so significant? Well, here's KSAT Explains San Antonio namesakes.
Tobin, Madla, McAllister, Wurzbach. Who were they? To help us answer that, let's tell you who this is. Tell me your name.
David Green.
And what's the title of your book?
Place names of San Antonio and surrounding counties.
He's an orthopedic surgeon by trade and a lover of trivia and history by trait.
I was on the faculty of the medical school for 8 years, and my office was on Floyd Curl Drive. And for 8 years, I asked people who was Floyd Curl, and nobody could tell me.
That curiosity launched years of research for his book. Floyd Curl Drive is one of the main roads running through the medical center on San Antonio's northwest side. So who was Mr. Curl, or rather, Reverend Curl?
Turns out he was a Methodist minister. He chaired the first meeting when some businessmen and medical people got together and said, let's build a medical center. And the first building out there was Methodist Hospital, and so they named the only street in the whole medical center for Floyd Curl.
San Antonio has no shortage of streets bearing someone's name, but there are two that tend to raise a lot of questions, and not just about their namesakes.
People always wonder why we have two Wurzbach roads. Well, it's a great story. William
Wurzbach and Harry Wurzbach were brothers. William, the oldest, he was a Texas congressman from 1895 to 1897.
In 1904, William Wurzbach and his father-in-law, Gustav Schmelzer, bought 1,400 acres of what is now the medical center.
The dirt road that once led to Wurzbach's home became Wurzbach Road. And yes, Wurzbach Parkway. From Ingram Road to Lock Hill Selma, it's Wurzbach Road. Then from Lock Hill Selma to O'Connor Road near I-35, it's Wurzbach Parkway, both named for William.
So, where does Harry Wurzbach come from?
He becomes the first Republican elected to Congress from Texas since Reconstruction.
He had served in the Spanish-American War and was very involved in veterans organizations, so he's much beloved for that reason.
Of issues like civil rights, he voted for an anti-lynching bill, for instance, which was an act of great courage on his part, certainly.
People wanted to do something for Harry, so they went down to city council and lobbied to get a road named for Harry.
People were upset because there was already a Wurzbach Parkway, and they thought they'd be confused.
They lost, and it is confusing.
A giant building downtown bears the name of a giant San Antonio legend.
Henry B.
Henry B.
The Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center.
Henry B. Gonzalez is one of the most significant San Antonians, I would argue.
He was in Congress for more than 30 years, but he started out in San Antonio City Council.
Then Gonzalez became the first Mexican-American elected to the Texas Senate in 1956, and the first Mexican-American from Texas elected to U.S. Congress in 1961.
Incredible dedication to attacking and speaking out against segregation of Mexican Americans in the 1950s.
He was seen as a person who cared about people no matter their station.
His real claim to fame was when they had the big banking savings and loan scandal.
He upset a lot of people, but the people who didn't like him said at least he's trying to get to the bottom of the crisis and make things better for everyday San Antonians.
Another name you see over and over, McAllister. Walter McAllister was mayor of San Antonio from 1961 to 1971. He was instrumental in helping expand San Antonio College.
There's Mayor McAllister with the president of the Conservation Society, Mrs. Brooks Martin, or Pinky Martin as she was known, and of course the famous Congressman Henry B. Gonzalez. They're all smiling here, which is a little unusual because actually the Conservation Society fought Mayor McAllister for most of his tenure in office because they were against the highway that was going to be built through Breckenridge Park.
But he had the vision that we needed a road from downtown to the airport, which is 281, and it bears his name.
Eventually it was built. Because of the Conservation Society's opposition, the city was unable to use federal funds, so it did it with state and local funds.
Sometimes it's called McAllister Freeway to honor him, and sometimes, at least initially, it was called McAllister Freeway because some folks resented that that road plowed through their front yards and their backyards, and so they said he should get credit or discredit.
Now from one name to many, the Tobin family.
The Tobin family they were huge philanthropists in San Antonio.
John W. Tobin, who was mayor during one of the great periods in San Antonio history, the time the Conservation Society was founded in the 1920s, was a great period of growth for the city.
When they built Almost Dam, when they had a big flood downtown, and he was instrumental in doing that.
Mayor Tobin's nephew was Edgar Tobin. His story is on display at the Whitty Museum.
Edgar Tobin, and he was a World War I ace pilot, came back and started an aerial photography company.
But they were really not a wealthy family, and Edgar Tobin's the one that created this aerial surveys and created a mapping company that all the oil and gas companies of the day needed to have these Tobin maps. So that's where the family fortune really came from.
Edgar's wife, Margaret, had a love for art, theater, and symphony.
And she started the San Antonio Symphony in 1939.
She passed on that passion to their son, Robert L.B. Tobin, who the Tobin Center is named after.
Robert was a born collector. He probably has the biggest collection of theater arts in the entire world, and that's now known as the Tobin Collection of Theater Arts, which is housed at the McNay Art Museum today.
So when you think of something like the Tobin Center, you think of the arts because these are the people that help create some of our foundational arts organizations. Education
is the legacy of our next name, Frank Madla Jr.
We're standing right now in the Senator Frank Madla building on campus.
The campus of Texas A&M San Antonio.
His major dream was to bring a public university to the south side of San Antonio. And he labored literally for years to do this, to get this support.
Madla served in the Texas House and Senate from 1972 to 2006. He helped bring the Toyota plant to San Antonio and redevelop the old Kelly Air Force Base. But he didn't live to see his dream for a Southside university become reality. He died in a house fire in 2006. A&M San Antonio became a standalone university in 2009.
We view him as an iconic figure on our campus, and our campus colors are silver and black and what we call Madla maroon. He was just really a constant voice for the people of this area.
And those are just a few San Antonio namesakes in a city full of so many stories to tell.
A lot of people don't want to read a history book or hear about a historical event, but if it's in a place or a place name, the park is named, the street is named, the building is named, then it's part of your regular everyday life. It's not this separate category of history, it's just part of life. And it connects you to people who were there before.
Anything we missed?
Oh yeah, we missed about 990 of these things.
So let's do a few more then. Next Tuesday, we'll be airing another San Antonio namesakes with a new round of names. There are some fascinating, even some scandalous stories involved. You can look out for that next Tuesday right here on the News at 6.
Then we'll miss about 980. We'll just keep whittling it down.
Keep it away.
There. Yeah. A new poll finds that most Americans are hoping the federal government creates a plan on how to reduce these natural disasters from happening by reducing pollution. We're going to talk about this after the break.
Countries around the world are currently debating the future of fossil fuels at the United Nations Climate Change Summit in Dubai.
And a recent CNN poll found most Americans support President Joe Biden's goal to put climate pollution in the U.S. to cut it in half by the end of the decade. The poll conducted by SSRS last month found nearly 2/3 of adults say they are worried about the threat of climate change in their communities. Even more want the federal government to do something about it. 73% of the poll's participants on both sides of the political spectrum said the federal government should develop climate policies with the goal of reducing planet warming pollution.
Meantime, $81 billion. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says that's the total cost of the record 25 natural disasters we've had in the U.S. this year. But the impact is far more than just financial. 482 people died as a result of those disasters. They include 19 severe storms, 2 flooding events, a wildfire, just to name a few. The most expensive disaster was the drought we had here in the southern U.S. and the Midwest, which affected our crops and livelihoods.
Yeah, we definitely have a climate issue going on, but also keep in mind we have a people issue where we've been building literally on top of water now practically over the past several decades, which just exacerbates the issue and the damage from the storms and especially the hurricanes that come on shore. So you look back at satellite imagery from, say, the 80s compared to now, and you see that growth all the way up to water, which has a big impact as well. We impede on nature. And I've seen some presentations that climate change can contribute on average up to about 25% of a typical big storm, such as like Hurricane Harvey. Anyway, 69 right now, temperatures basically holding in the lower 60s overnight tonight. We'll talk about the cold front and even some mist and reduced visibility in just a bit.
Preparing for some chilly mornings ahead, Adam.
Yes, not tonight, not tomorrow, but on the way. It'll be good fire pit weather by Sunday night, especially, I think, when the wind really calms down. It's that time of year, Love to do that, get that going and give the kids some marshmallows to roast. But when I roast the marshmallows and I'm making s'mores, I think you have to warm up the chocolate as well. It's challenging to do so, but get that a little warmed up and a little melted. Okay, I'm off topic again. Warm and humid tomorrow, turning windy Saturday afternoon, and then the first freeze is possible as we get into Monday morning. Just a brief light freeze. I want to start with talking about the humidity and how that's going to be impacting the morning tomorrow. Dew points right now around 60 degrees in San Antonio, so feel a hint of humidity in the air. I do think that'll lead to another round of really low clouds developing after midnight tonight, and even some mist again, kind of like what we had earlier this morning, particularly along and east of I-35, where we have those dew points in the lower 60s. But that could impact the visibility for the morning tomorrow, potentially around or less than a mile for a period of time in and around town, and again, especially along and east of I-35. But that's just through about 9-10 a.m. Then we start to clear out again. 69 the air temp, dew point of 61, a calm breeze for the moment. That's going to be changing significantly by this time tomorrow. You'll be feeling that wind and seeing the trees shake a little bit. So a gusty cold front moves in. Now we're talking about the colder air. It's really not that cold relative to this time of year, to be honest with you. We're talking a few sites below freezing off to the north of us. You get into Canada, we have some colder air there, but that's even still not the bitter cold. Only a few sites actually below zero at the time. And I like to show this because we have to check in with my favorite town, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. 21 degrees right now in Saskatoon. Myra met a guy from Saskatoon once. Yep.
I was about to tell this story.
You got to tell the, okay, she was in Mexico, right? We can get to the story later, but she met a guy from Saskatoon by chance. And
texted you immediately.
She texted me immediately. I love it. Okay, anyway.
Was he in Cancun?
Yeah.
From Saskatoon?
We got it. Song. Sounds like it.
Oh, y'all, it's Friday.
It's Friday.
Woo!
Yeah. Okay, notice those high temperatures in the afternoon being affected a little bit. We'll be in the 70s tomorrow, but the near 60 on Sunday. Next week, we're in the mid 60s. Let's talk about the wind. It'll start howling around noon tomorrow and then pick up as we get later on in the day and into the night. Futurecast showing those wind gusts potentially around 40 miles per hour, especially in the hill country. We've got this prediction of 43 miles per hour in Rock Springs, and that goes through tomorrow night, then starts to pump the brakes into Sunday morning. And that wind is going to push in the drier, less humid air, so the dew points are going to tank as we get into tomorrow afternoon. That's the nice thing. The humidity falls off and it's drier air, but it's that north cedar breeze. 62 in the morning, 76 in the afternoon. That's 77 Divine, 72 in Comfort, 70 in Kerrville. Then by Sunday morning, we're at 39 and only 60 in the afternoon. Monday morning, a brief light freeze possible from 3 to 7 a.m. We're talking 32 degrees for maybe a few brief hours, and that's about it. Pipes will be A-OK. Cancun in Saskatoon, from Saskatoon in Cancun.
On a sand dune.
I broke out my phone and my husband said, "Who are you texting?" I said, I have to talk to Adam Caskey immediately. I'll be with you in a moment. Thanks, Adam.
In the buzz, leucistic alligators. Yeah. Into the buzz, an extremely rare and questionably cute white alligator is born. Biologists describe her as a leucistic alligator, which means lacking pigmentation. Gatorland in Orlando, Florida said this week this is the first white leucistic gator born in human care.
The baby female gator weighs 3.4 ounces and is 19.3 inches long. She's believed to be the only one of 8 in the entire world.
Look at her.
Kind of looks like she's smiling.
Little baby gator teeth there. All right, an aircraft in California made a successful maiden flight, and there wasn't even a pilot on board. Oof. Bay Area tech firm Reliable Robotics says this Cessna 208B Caravan taxied, took off, cruised, and landed, all while being piloted from a command center 50 miles away.
They called it historic, saying it's the first time a cargo plane of this size was operated remotely by a private company.
Would you go on a
I don't know how I feel about
flight?
Cars without drivers, much less a plane.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
Oh, thanks.
Remember, it is cedar season, and I think you need to prepare for a boost in mountain cedar, especially by Sunday. Today it's low. It's barely registered even on the pollen count, but the north wind, what we call the cedar breeze this time of year, will be coming out of the hill country, pushing that pollen around and into San Antonio and other areas. So Sunday, we expect the mountain cedar to get a bit higher because of those north winds that you'll really be noticing by, especially this time tomorrow, some wind gusts between 30 and 40 miles per hour. Brief light freeze possible Monday morning.
All right, thank you, Adam. And thank you for watching the News at 6.
We'll see you back here on the Night Beat at 10.